Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So today we are talking about not ignoring the warning signs that your body gives you during a training process. And essentially, this episode has been inspired by a story I hear all the time for hikers, particularly from hikers who are training for a particular, challenging hike, adventure, whether it's a big day hike, an overnight or a multi-day, even a through hike or whatever it may be. And in all honesty, I probably do hear some version of this story at least twice a week from hikers that I chat with. It's such a common thing. And I thought it was really, really worthwhile chatting through today. So basically the story goes, a hiker has a big trip coming up. As I said, it might be a big day hike, it might be an overnighter, it might be a multi-day, it might be a through hike, it might be a mountain climb, or whatever it may be. They say, look, this is going to be a big challenge. This is going to be a stretch. I need to train. So they start training and they start doing some really, really good stuff. Maybe they're doing some pack walking, some stair climbing, some hill work, maybe some hiking, maybe a bit of strength training as well. They're doing quite a bit in their week. They're doing quite a bit of hard work and or whatever it may be. And over the weeks that they've been doing this, they've been getting into it. They've been pushing themselves and they've been progressing. They've been slowly getting fitter. They're getting stronger. They've been increasing their pack weight, increasing their hiking distance. And they've been moving forward. And then at some point, usually within about the 6 to 8 to 10 week mark, depending on how long they've been training for, an ache begins to creep up, or a pain begins to creep up, or sort of, a niggle or a discomfort, or however you want to phrase it. Now, this could be something that's a bit of a long-term thing, something they've dealt with for quite a while, whether it's a previous injury, whether it's sort of something they deal with some arthritis, or whether it's, or just whatever it may be. It might be something they've been dealing for a while and it just gets aggravated. Or it might be just be a new thing. Maybe their feet start to get sore. Maybe the Achilles gets sore, their shins or the knees or whatever it may be. But whatever it is, and, something gets uncomfortable. And they look at this upcoming hike and they're like, you know what? I'm obviously in a little bit of discomfort now, but I've still got a long way to get ready for this hike. I've got to get ready for this distance on the trail. I've got to get ready for this pack weight. I've got to get ready for this elevation or whatever it may be. And they're like, you know what? I can't stop now. I've got to keep on moving forward. So they ignore these signs the body's throwing at them. They ignore the pains, the discomforts. And they're like, you know what? I'll deal with this. And they just keep on pushing on and doing what they're doing. But I'll tell you right now, if you are getting aches, pains, or old injuries creeping up through your training, this is a sign that your body wants you to pay attention. Now, not to catastrophize this and say, if you're getting pain, you're going to be, automatically at risk of injury, or you have to stop what you're doing, or anything like that. And, aches and pains and injuries, they don't mean or discomforts, they don't mean you've damaged yourself or you can't do your hike or whatever it may be. But it is something you do want to pay attention to because the body's giving you signals for a reason. And typically when we start to sort of get these aches and pains through a training process, if you take action relatively soon, it can often be a relatively simple thing to get on top of this. Some people, yes, who may be a little bit more complicated, but 9 times out of 10, if you can take action early, it usually is a relatively simple thing to get on top of these things, to ensure that you can keep on moving forward, ensure that these things don't get in the way of you further down the line, and make sure you are actually going to be ready for your trip. But if you just ignore it, and if you just keep on doing what you're doing, you just keep on pushing through, keep on the same track you're doing, more than likely, these bits and pieces that are just in the early warning signs now, they're going to get worse and worse because your training's only going to get harder. You're only going to string together more and more stress on the body. And if you're just doing the same thing, you keep on the same track, it's probably not going to settle. So you do want to be taking action. You do want to be sort of doing something to work around this. So when I say take action, what does that actually mean? What do I mean here when I'm saying, okay, you got that early warning sign, take action. What happens? Well, it could be one of many things. And obviously everyone's in a different situation. Everyone's got different things going on, different injuries, yada, yada, yada. So, giving you an exact answer here, it's a bit tricky, but I'll give you some examples. Now, to be honest, one thing it doesn't mean is taking action doesn't mean just completely stopping everything what you're doing complete rest. Because if you are training for a particular trip, if you've got 2 months ahead of you and you end up taking 2 or 3 or 4 weeks off just to get this thing settled, that's obviously going to come back to bite you a bit close to the trip because you're going to be underprepared. Then you're going to have to dive in the deep end. Then you'll probably flare things up. And yeah. That doesn't mean do nothing. And it also probably doesn't mean do no walking or no hiking for a few weeks and completely stop on that. Because again, that's going to be the same. A lot of people get recommended from, certain professionals, and they're like, I've got this issue. And they're like, just stop hiking. You're doing too much hiking. But they're like, when in the back of their head, they're like, well, yeah, I've got to hike because I've got a trip coming up in 8 weeks. I've got to be ready for that. And there's just this sort of, mismatch in information. So it typically doesn't mean, take action. I'm not talking about complete rest. I'm not talking about completely stopping your walking or hiking. But it could be a number of examples. For some hikers, you may be doing lots of walking, lots of hiking, stair climbing, hill climbing, pack walking, whatever it may be. For some hikers, it may just be you're doing too much of this, and that is overloading the body. So a simple solution for someone like this, as opposed to, you're not just completely stopping your hiking or your walking, but just simply swapping one of these sessions that's on your feet just for something that's off your feet that's going to be a little bit less strenuous. Something like cycling or swimming or walking in a pool or whatever it may be. That may be the simplest solution for someone. If someone's doing loads and loads, this might involve 2 sessions, whatever it may be. But in this thing, it's a simple change where you can keep your body moving forward, keep your fitness moving forward, but it just gives the body a little bit more room to breathe and to help those aches and pains, not get so bad. That could be the simplest change, but sometimes that can be all the difference. Or for other hikers, they may be doing strength training down a local gym with a trainer, whatever it may be, but they may just be getting absolutely smashed through certain movements or certain types of training, which is aggravating things. Typical examples I see from this is, they'll go to a trainer and they'll just be given, dozens and dozens and dozens of lunges and then squats and then this and that. And, those things can be great, but if you're doing too much of them, sometimes they can aggravate things. Or people are going into classes and, exercise classes, and they're just doing loads and loads of things like squat jumps or burpees or lunge jumps or whatever it may be. Again, these can be things that are aggravating. Or whatever it may be. There could be loads and loads of different things. So for some hikers in this situation, it may involve just like looking at what they're doing and just saying, okay, I'm just going to take a different approach to my training. If I'm still working with my trainer, I might just say, look, can we just ease off on these certain movements? Or if you're doing classes, maybe it's a case of going, you know what, I'm going to take control of my own strength training. I'm going to do my own stuff, which isn't going to have these aggravating movements or whatever it may be. And that may be the change you need. For others, I see this all the time, is you may be doing walking, hiking, pack walking, stair climbing, hill climbing, but they may not doing any strength training. So maybe just swapping 1 or 2 of those sessions for a bit of home strength training might be all the difference. There's lots and lots of little changes you can make here, which can keep you moving forward, but also just give you the space you need to get on top of these aches and pains. And finding that balance between there is important, because if you just keep on doing the same thing, it's probably not going to serve you so well. Now, again, I will just reiterate, in this situation, as much of this story is incredibly common, I hear it all the time. Everyone's individual situation is different here, because everyone's going to have different issues they're dealing with. Everyone's going to be doing different things that lead to these issues. Everyone's going to have different trips they're preparing for. Everyone's going to have different timelines and all of this. There's so many other factors that go into making this an individual thing. So everyone is going to have a bit of a different solution to this. But those are just some examples of what I've seen and what I've seen with hikers, which simple changes can make just all the difference. But, I'll just sort of say another thing that just wraps everyone into one is if your body is flaring up during your training, if it's getting uncomfortable, if it's giving you these early warning signs, you want to listen to it. You want to pay attention to it. Don't just shove it in the back of your mind, try to ignore it and hope it's going to get better. You want to listen to it and you want to take action. So if you are in this situation, if you do have a trip looming in front of you, but an ache or pain is creeping up, this is the time you need to reach out for help to get help with this. Find a local physiotherapist, find a local physical therapist who knows about hiking, or at the very least who knows about running. Go have a chat with them. Just say, I've got these issues. This is what I'm doing. This is the trip I'm coming up. Can you help me? Hopefully, if you can find someone like that, they will be able to give you some direction to adjust things, to help you, to get you on the right track, to get that right balance for you. And if this isn't possible, if you can't find someone who has this sort of knowledge, or if you can't find someone who can understand, what you're dealing with, what the trip's coming up, who can't find that balance for you and give you the direction, then you can always reach out to me. We can have a chat. We can hop on the phone and just see if it is something I might be able to help you with. I might be like, you know what? Yeah, this sounds pretty simple. We can get you sorted. We can get you there if you like. Or it might be like, you know what? Actually, this isn't something we can help you with. You probably do need to work directly with a physio, but we can give you a few ideas around how to help your training around all that. or whatever it may be. So if that isn't possible, reach out to us. Let's have a chat and we can help you there. And if you do want to learn a little bit more about our training and how we do help hikers and fit into this situation, you can go to summitstrength.com.au/online. And there we've got loads of information around our programs, how we help hikers prepare for trips, get on top of aches and pains, and also just get in a great position for their everyday adventures. So if you want to learn a little bit more, check it out, summitstrength.com.au/online. But all in all, to wrap this episode up, I'll just say, if you are training for a hike and you're getting these early warning signs, please pay attention. Pay attention, take action, and it will serve you really, really well over the next months leading into this trip. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been a bit of a wake-up call for some people, and I hope it's given you some insights. So have a lovely day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.